Hello, welcome. I took a couple of minutes to start because I had just finished eating and things weren't quite ready yet, but it's all good, a couple of minutes. I mean, it's not the longest time that I was late for a stream. Anyway, I'm just loading into the Milton Valley Railroad in the background. So, hello, Mr. W, welcome. It's good to have you back in chat. Yes. And we're live. Hello, Kangafango. Hello. Yes, hello. Just loading in. I suppose I might as well switch over. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could switch over to this camera, but I don't think I want to. Well, it's even funnier when the lighting is more orangey, because then it just looks red, everything. With high contrast for comedic effect. Ha! So yeah, this is what there we go. This is yeah, it works with audio as well. So this is what we've currently got of the last branch that's actually in the mountains. So because we've got over here, we've got up there, we've got now this going over this way. After that's finished, the only thing that's kind of in the mountains-ish, like more in the foothills, is this going back here. It's going to be more the edge of the mountain. It's going to go up here. This is going to be a bit mountainous, but over here it's just going to be hilly, basically. So, yeah, there's the last bit of the mountains we're going to make, because then all that's left is down here in the city, and over here a tiny little bit for the main line to continue. So, let's get right back to it, when the tracks have loaded in, that is. Whoa, the buffer on my end. Buffer? No, it's, well, it's buffers if it's got two springs. If it's only got one bit, like a bumper, so this back here, it's a bumper, it doesn't actually have any springs in it, then it's called a bumper, not a buffer. Oh, no pun intended! Oh, yes. Sorry about that, I assumed you intended the railroad pun. Kind of. Well, kind of not. Yeah, maybe reload, maybe, yeah. I turn on lowest quality, but it's fine for me for the moment. Okay, good. So, now it's time to smoothen this side out a little bit more. I don't have to do too much smoothing work over here because, well, most of this is going to be covered with trees anyway on this side, and it's not that close to where the player is going to view it from, most likely. But I do want to smoothen out a little bit more. Then after that, I'll paint in the river. Then I'll smooth it out. Then I'll add a little bit more variation in the peaks of these hills, because at the moment it's just very flat at the top. Hello, VGR, welcome. Les cons are calling. Haha. Welcome. Interesting that you did decide to use that gold hull covering token. Smooth, alright, hey Smooth. You always put that link when you use that website. Thank you. It is funny, yes. And to think that in the game, they actually had the opportunity to do that. And if they wanted to, I would have let them. Yes, I would have let them. Yes, NPCs in the future would have commented on a golden pathos. Of course. And it would have made certain things more difficult. But I would have let them. Mr. W, are you interested in voice chat today or not? I also think that Dodrubir, how that's pronounced, would have had something against it. Yes. Yes, she would have. And in fact, she has had something against that. Probably not today, no, not at the moment at least. But thanks very much for the offer. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hop on, I'm in the call, that's fine. So, yeah, this is turning out well. And no, I haven't forgotten about maybe doing some, what are they called? Contributory? No, tributaries. Yes, just tributary creeks, little streams. Answer the comments already. On screen. Good, 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 good. Finally, someone says the thing. On screen, I said. Okay, okay, fine. There you go. Now we're on screen. Happy? We've put it on screen. Actually, if I do this, it's easier to see, isn't it? There we go. Actually, it's a bit too bright. Maybe something like that would be better. Anyway, I'll probably just switch back before I give you all nightmares. Yeah, it's actually orange, but yes. Color correction went to 0. Yep. Okay, so I'll give a little bit more depth. So basically I'll put the height up to this height, like in the background, the height up to this point. Maybe not all the way, but at least give a little bit of a plateau up here, so that it's easier to then change the height of the peaks, to say the least. Why is it? Oh, right, it's a divot, of course. Are you using a plateau tool? I'm using the set height tool. But I will be using the plateau tool soon. Let's see. Actually, can you see this from any other angle? No, not really. No, you can't. Okay. Nearly. Yeah, I understood what you meant, so it's fine. Now I'm briefly using the plateau tool just to smoothen this out a little bit. There we go. Phonetically correct, and that's the most important for this. Yeah, because if it's phonetically correct, then you can usually still comprehend what you mean. Do you know platt is the German word for flat? Yes, I did, surprisingly. Sorry, unsurprisingly. Okay, I'll add a little bit of a peak there. Then I'll use the plateau tool to smoothen this out a little bit so that it's not just one spike, it's actually a hill. And I don't think I need to do anything like this over on the other side because, well, for one, you're much closer, so you're not really going to see that far up the slope because there's going to be forest in the way. And secondly, I think it looks better on that side. Platt sounds like a sound effect. Yeah, I suppose it could be used as a sound effect. Eliza, I see you guys did plate the plathos in gold. That's got to be one hell of a flex on the other ships. Totally. I'm sure it will earn you respect. And totally no pirate activity whatsoever. Spike? How did he get there? Ha! Ha ha ha. Just a little bit more over here. Sort of like that. I'm sure the USS Exeter is green with envy. Well, white with envy. Well, no, the Defiant is green with envy. No, not that. The old Defiant is the one I mean. Eliza, pirate? Oh, you mean my fellow compatriots? Oh yeah, you should watch for them. Ah, good thing you pointed that out. Ha ha ha, shadows, yes. How does that look? Yeah, see, that looks so much more interesting now that it's not just flat. Like over here, it's just a flat top. Here, it's got an actual hill. An actual hill. Surprise. Fellow compatriots? I see. So, hey man, being as you seem to have an interest in RPing, what with the characters you've created and your actions with the paid streams, I've got a text-based RP Discord server. If you're interested, then it's in the promotions of Great Stuff and Charity's Discord channel. And I can send you a link on here too if you want. Yeah, if you're interested. Oh, hello, Rdope 2. Hello, welcome. How are you? Hey, fun fact. Match is the German word for mud. Yeah? Mud. Yes. I need a little bit more of a divot in here to really make this work. Call me Ryan. Ryan, hello. That is easier. Okay. So yeah, what we're currently working on is on the Milton Valley Railroad up here, this little bit. So this is the last bit of the mountainous area that we need to finish. Then there's just this little bit back here, which is more hilly terrain, really, just a little bit back here. And then down here, within the city limits, we've got a couple of stations to go. And then, well, we've got this little area to clean up as well. But then it's pretty much the layout done. Then I'll need to go over it again, placing things like bushes, updating some of the scenery, because at this point some of the scenery is, what, like almost 2 years old? Maybe? I don't actually know how long it would have been, but almost 2 years old. So some of it is a little bit out of date. And then, yeah, adding things like setting up industries or adding street lamps or things like that. And then it'll be done. Then I'll do a couple of streams making some sessions, but most of the sessions I'll make off stream, so that it's still a surprise if you buy the route. And then it's done. I am most likely going to start a new Trainz route as well, which will not be live streamed, at least not now. It'll be something that I work on off stream, and I would like to do that in a more of a video format where I compile some of the footage and then like do time lapses with post commentary, like talking about some of my design decisions and what went through my head as I was making it in a more easily watchable format, because I know that most people, even those who are interested in Trainz and watch these streams, most people only watch a couple of minutes of the archive, mostly just near the end, probably just to see what I've built, which is fair enough. That's probably what I would do as well with the archives. I mean, spending 2 hours per stream when you can just skip ahead is a lot to ask, and yeah. So hopefully that'll be a more digestible format. There are still a couple of things that I need to do before I'm able to do that. Most formally, actually make the main train for it, because the route is going to feature a train which does not yet exist for Trainz, at least not a good version. Like, there is a version that exists of it, but it's not ideal, to put it mildly. So I'm making a new version of it, high quality version, which will actually be the first train that I make for Trainz. Actually, that I am making, and I'm making good progress with it. Once that's finished, well, if I have the time, which I should do, I'll get started on that route project. So, yes. And incidentally, that is that same train where I had the issues with the headlights, which turned out to be a fuel issue. Like, the fuel wasn't set to the default. Yeah, it kind of makes sense depending on how you think about it. So, yes, that'll be interesting. Let me read chat a bit. Chat a bit. Yes. Nah, I think Eliza would be too passive-aggressive for diplomatic RP. There's a reason she's not allowed to enter the EU Parliament. I mean, she's not even allowed to enter Parliament Square. Probably. Oh, come on. Oh, come now. Who says it's diplomatic? The prophets. The prophets. No. Who says it's diplomatic? The prophets. No. Schluck, cluck. That's all you need. That's all you had to say. I'm in. Bring the crew with me. Sweet. If you're serious about it, then it's linked in the promotion channel on JR's Discord server. Or again, I can send you a link if you can't find it. I'll probably do it after the stream, though. That's okay with you. Digestible format. Why would you digest a train line? Well, if you're an appropriately themed D&D monster, then you might digest a train line, like an actual tunnel, like a train line tunnel, where the tracks just lead into, and the tunnel's sentient and just eats all the trains, and then the mountain grows a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Oh, apparently that got a follow. Yes, thank you very much. Is that... Let's see, who was that? Ryan, thank you very much for following. By the way, these live streams are archived on YouTube as well. The entire series of building the Milton Valley Railroad, if you're interested in any of it. It's on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel's name is also Sharadise. So, yeah. Right. Go. Oh, wow. I'll have to see. I'll have to discuss with the rest of my crew. But surely only some trains are just coal. Well, locomotives, yeah. Otherwise, wood, electricity, diesel. Sure thing, mate. Just let me know. And, not looked into it if you find it. Yes. Did anyone have the thing as a kid where the parents fed them by saying, there's a train coming, the adjustable train lines brings a whole new meaning to that? I remember knowing about something similar. I'm not entirely sure if I did experience that, then it wasn't a major thing. But I do know about it. That's a bit too tall. I need to round that cap off a bit. You know, like spoon coming close to the mouth supposed to be symbolize the train coming. Yes, I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Also, I do need to round this back bit off because the lodding of the terrain can make this look a little jagged when further away. I remember the 87 movie skit about that after the actual airplane crashed down into the house. Can't remember which one it was. Think I've only heard of that one. What was? Valid point. A valid point. Who knows? There are lots of things that are valid points which are dismissed as being irrational, and there are a lot of irrational things which are held to be valid points in a lot of conversations, discussions, and arguments. Adjustable train lines. Okay, so, actually no, I need to fix this bit. I need to fix it a little bit more like that. I think that's going to be good. Ish. One moment. That's a valid point. Yes. So, let's save and then have a look. Alright, no. Let's turn on these lights here. So, let's have a look coming up from the lake, see what it looks like. That looks okay, but you can kind of tell that it just ends there. I'll have to smoothen that out a little bit more. But this bit looks great. Yeah, that looks great. I'm really happy with that. That... I mean, when it's covered in forest, you won't really see that as much. Now from the other side. Yeah, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Happy with that. What's the most invalid point you think you've ever heard? That's a good question. I guess it would be a tie among all the things that are completely irrelevant to what's going on. Like, for example, saying... Like, for example, saying, I can't come tonight because Beetlejuice is outputting energy. Why is that relevant? Oh, it's not relevant at all. It's outputting energy, and I'm using that as an excuse. I know it's not really pronounced Beetlejuice, it's what Betelgeuse or something like that because of where the word comes from, but yes. Oh, I heard the waterfall then. Yep, this is also smoothen, yes. Too contradictory. And the sentence? I don't know. Fondly known by the locals as, "Hey ma, come check out this ugly cat." Branch line. What? What do you mean, come check out this ugly cat? Branch line? You mean because it's an invalid point? Invalid sentence. Also, hello, Mr. Snipes. Welcome. Oh, how can that be invalid? Surely that quality makes another point invalid. Hello, don't say Beetlejuice 2 more times or God help you. Why? What do you mean? I meant that too contradictory would be my sentence on the invalid point of the statement is false. Oh, right. That makes sense. Almost looks right. No, no, I meant that I thought that you meant the sentence false, which is of course the Portal 2 quote. Okay, I'm quite happy with how the slopes look. So, I suppose next I should paint in the river. Well, actually no, I'll paint in the... actually, if I'm going to paint, I'm going to have to change this to all be 5-meter grid size, because that way I'll be able to do it better. Also, there's a little tip for you. If you zoom out just enough so that it's between going into the map mode and not, then if you click on the squares to change them to 5-meter grid size, you can do it much quicker, like this. Right. I think I found them, right? What's the name of the RP? I think it's called W's RP thingy. This looks like where we left off last time. Yes. I mean, on the map it's over here, where we left off last time. So where the log stuff is, that's up here. So this is up here, and we're now currently working over on this bit. Oop, don't mind that. That's absolutely fine. Don't mind any of that. It also appeared in Ball 2, but I'm pretty sure Valve didn't intend it. On whichever one you want, mate. We can talk more about it after the stream, but it's a very questionable moment. I mean, fair. And this Peter pick whatever people want. I'll make a channel for it. To quote GLaDOS in her lesser form, this statement is false. Don't think about it, don't think about it, don't think about it, don't think about it. True. I'll go with true. Huh, that was easy. Yes. I'll join tomorrow, after I'm done with remaking the crew photo. God, I'll never forget the ending to that game. Me neither. So I can properly introduce myself in Eliza's crew. So, let's get to painting. What am I going to paint? The floor. Oh, yes, but... let's reduce the scale a bit. Actually, no, not the scale. I meant the radius. Let's reduce the radius a bit. The scale was fine like that, I think. And I will need to make sure that this is all at least flat. It's going to be interesting getting the log flumes down that way. Okay, how does that look? Actually well, this bit could look a little better, hold on. Like that. Should be free for most of the day tomorrow, although I do have a couple of minor things to do. A couple of minor things, like finish your campaign writing. Yes, minor things, minor things. No, it's just I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Hoping you won't bring tanks though, that it mess up Austria's roads. Maybe depends on what tank it is. Nah, alright, just light enough short damage roads. Oh, you meant W's RP thing. Sorry, I thought you meant join the stream tomorrow. That's my bad. Also, if it's Austria, if It's Austria. I can't go there. They're forced to be neutral. Alright, just please don't arm it or anything. Neutral with what? Chaotic neutral, of course. Charades, a couple of minor things, as in pay someone, get some shopping, go to something, and read a script. Ah, that seems pretty good. And then you'll find out that the script is 500 pages. But yeah, we'll try to work on it tomorrow. And if not Monday, as that day is completely free. There we go. Completely free. Nice. This bit could use a little bit of a rework. Just redoing this little bit here to be a little bit smoother. Like that. So now I'll quickly get, well actually what height is this? This is 220. Over here it is 23. Okay, so I'm going to get a height of about 21 something. And then I'm going to just paint along here just to make the river definitely not flow uphill, because that would not work. Yeah, over here it would kind of be flowing uphill. And then I'm going to smooth this out as well, just so it looks a little nicer. Probably. I mean, I might not. I might not make it look nicer, but then why would I do that? And yes, it does take some practice with the Trainz camera to be able to trace the river like this. You can actually also, of course, move the camera in reverse, which I don't often do because there's really not much point in it often. So like this. But, of course, that's a little bit more difficult. Okay, now I've just got to go over some of the little areas here where I might have missed the edge of the river, so that it actually is still flowing uphill a little bit on the edge. Just widen the cut slightly. 5 pages, but every page has just a huge letter on it. That would actually not be very easy to read. Not 500, I think 40 or something. 19 chapters, I'm in 2 of them, with a gigonic? Yes, that's intentional. Break in between. Scene 3, 5, 17 and 19, I believe. Ah, nice. Ah, great. Austria cannot have front troops on the land unless you guys are appearing in the future, in which case a treaty that forced them to be neutral has expired. It's been ages since I've been in any scenes. Oh well. Is there a dangerous part on this railway called Crunch Town Corner, where a famous wreck happened, where a boxcar full of corn landed on top of a steam boiler, causing the entire area to be covered in a layer of popcorn? Not as far as I know, but there are plenty of sharp corners and bends where wrecks could happen. And that is an interesting idea. Did you come up with that yourself, or is that based on a true story? I mean, if you can lead a realistic war-style RP, then sure. One be able to, though, as I don't know a lot about that, and might not enjoy that RP genre, but we'll see. Luckily no one was hurt, but luckily no one was hurt. Yeah, the Thomas the Tank Engine reference, of course. But they say they are smelled like popcorn for many summers still after the accident. Ah, is the reference? Oh wow, that sounds cartoonish but also dangerous. Gigonic, yes, of course. Also, for clarification, I had only said about Austria because that's where we'll drive an 82 convoy tomorrow. It was nothing to do with W0 playing. Gigantic. Yes, of course, there's a T. I forgot about the T. Very good. Yeah, see, I told you I was, yeah, riskish, like, if you can do it and guide someone who doesn't know through it, be my guest. Driver said it tasted great. Taste? You know, Percy, coal tastes great. Good, right? Yes. Yes, and driver said the popcorn tastes great. Yes. Gigantic? Oh, gigantic. Oh, gigantic, just like that. Gigantic. Oh, of course. Yeah, sometimes it's the easiest words that are the most confusing because you tend to overthink them. The same with a lot of other things. I came up with it just now, but it's based on a true story where steam wrecks were bad for anything near the boiler. Yeah. Australia? Popcorn is just a nice, fun outcome for something that could have been more serious. True. Almost done with the terraforming here. Then I'll paint on the other bits of the river. Sweet ma'am. And basic rules apply. There's also a channel for it. Can't wait to see that. Nice. Gigantic. Ha. Huh? Huh. Ha. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Exclamation mark, exclamation point, exclamation mark. That's a bit too far over. There we go. Exclamation point mark? Haha. Yeah, I've heard people say both exclamation point and exclamation mark, but I've only heard people say question mark, not question point. Stolshire. Stolshire Dales Scenic Railroad, yes. Odd. Reminds me of a riddle. Oh, I'm glad it reminds someone of a riddle. Anyway, gotta go. Armor 5 invasion starting in 10. Okay, well, have fun either invading or preventing an invasion in Armor 5. Gotta go, gotta lead the crew. Okay, sure. Bye-bye, yes, thanks for coming. Phase out. I remember the good old days of Transport Fever 2. And they've updated it so much since then. I really want to give it another go. With UK mods this time. Like, actually going through those beautiful old UK steam engines and then going up to the diesels and then the DMUs and EMUs and things like that. I think that would be really, really fun. But I don't currently have the time. Although, on Monday, I will be streaming, if it all goes to plan, I will be streaming a game with Kango that I've not streamed ever. and it's gonna have lots of mods installed, and I think it should be a lot of fun. It is actually a thing that was suggested to me a while ago on Discord as a stream suggestion. A detective is working on a case, and the 3 blacksmith brothers, Mark, Steve, and Alex, are the suspects. At the crime scene, there's a note. Blacksmith. He did it. Who did the crime? Of course it's Mark, because the question mark. There we go. Because the other ones haven't got Mark in their name. Is that the solution? It was Mark? Or actually, I suppose it would mean it's not Mark, because why would he leave a note saying that it was him? Why would that be trustworthy? So I suppose you could also say that that is proof that it was any of them except Mark, because someone is trying to put the blame on Mark by leaving that note. Riddle, riddle, German fiddle. Out of 4, which 2 were in the middle? I would say probably if you drop the E, it would be... Actually, if you drop the E and the L, it would be I and D, riddle. It's late, but see you in the server, man. Nice, but no. Nice, but it won't have all the mods installed, right? No, it won't have all the mods installed. It'll have some chosen mods installed. No, it won't be 7. Won't have all the mods 7 installed. Not all 7. It will have more than 7. Yes! Question mark. It's a riddle. It's not meant to be completely logic-based. What do you mean? That's literally the... At least for me, that the definition of a riddle is something that you can figure out through logic. Because what's the point of a riddle if it's not logical? At least that's my view. Well, only the riddle part. I guess that makes sense. Not the world building part. Well, I like world building. I really like world building. Which is why it irritates me so much when a franchise that I really like Star Trek or Doctor Who, just destroys so much of the world building. And which is also why, for example, I know this might be a mixed opinion, but which is why Harry Potter doesn't do that much for me, because a lot of the world building, if you think about it, doesn't make that much logical sense. I could go into details, but I think I've already gone into details in a previous stream. Just find that stream somewhere and watch that. Yeah, so do I think. Here's one. I resemble an animal, but I'm not alive. What am I? A dead animal. I mean, there you go. Yeah, I think you have, Charles. There you go. See, so I solved the riddle. Solved the riddle for you. I was gonna go for a toy of an animal, but that works too, I suppose. Another answer might be an animal's shadow. If you even count a shadow, namely a lack of something, being a thing of its own. You were close, W. Did he get it? The answer is teddy bear. Ah. I say that Mr. W got it, mostly. I say we can count that. Ooh. Ah, so it was kind of right with Troy. Yeah, I think we can count that. Now the real question is who is counting and why. But I think we can count that. 1 point. See, with that though, there are many correct answers technically, like the shadow of an animal is a great answer. Yeah, a lot of riddles have multiple answers. And only some of them will get you killed by a Sphinx. Beautiful. Got some lanterns too. Aww. Okay, after I've done this bit, I'll paint on the ballast of the track, or under the track. Actually, yeah, first I'll replace the tracks and then I'll paint the ballast on underneath. Then after that, it's time to add the forest. But first I want to check if the river looks good like this. Actually, you can already see a little bit where I need a little bit more of that. I should also save. One moment. So, I got Demon Souls and Rayman 3D on Friday. Are you sure that that apostrophe is correct? How does this river look? Actually, it looks quite good. Quite happy with it. Yeah, don't worry, I'll fix that. I'll fix it, don't worry, it's fine. Look, okay, tell you what, if you don't believe me, there you go, fixed it. No idea, but you get what I mean. I get what you mean. Also, I think it's probably not supposed to be there. Demon Souls was a game before Dark Souls, I think. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the river looks good like this. And actually, I think I want to keep that little edge there. I wanted to smoothen it off, but I think it actually adds quite a bit in this case. It makes it look distinct from the other rivers. Okay, now it's time to bulk replace. Recently remastered for PS4 5, I think. I have no knowledge of that. Much better. That's to update this one. Then I've got to go get this asset, drag that over on here, click. Yes. There we go. Oh, I would not know. So what do you think of the games? I've only played a bit, but looks really good. Seems a lot smoother in graphics and movement than both Dark Souls 1 and 2. Good. Nope, I need to get the other texture, this one. I was laughing about the story of some fella who kept posting in a hunting games forum on Reddit who was playing the game as a native photographer and hiking enthusiast, and many of the hunter people were getting mad about it. Aww. Why are they getting mad about it? Surely you can enjoy a piece of software like that, a game like that, an experience like that, however you can enjoy it. Well, I've only played a bit, but Demon Souls is pretty good. I can get the manual and put a short thing of the story if it's not gonna clog up the chat. I mean, if you want to, sure, go ahead. I mean, Kango usually writes a lot anyway, so you should probably know by now that you don't really have to worry that much about clogging up the chat. There are fireworks happening out there. Why are there fireworks happening? Is it a holiday today? Oh wait, is it... when does summer start? On what day does summer start? I actually don't know. Could it be that summer starts today? No, it has to be later. It's still May. No. Summer has to start later. You've probably already written it in chat, but I can't look at chat at the moment because I have to paint this underneath, and if I look away then I'm going to mess it up, and then I'm going to have to undo it and do all of it again, unless I were to repaint over the areas that I would have potentially messed up. Almost done. Okay, I think I'll just, actually, you know what, I think I'll just draw this out straight until we get to about there. There we go. Hold on, I need to reload. Twitch keeps cutting out. And I'm in 3D. Well, I wanted a 3D platformer, and I don't have any progressive games on my 3DS. What do you mean progressive games? Got to grab it. Hey-o! Oh, hey, I can hear them too. 21st. Alright, 21st of June, next month. Maybe someone got the date wrong, because it's the 21st of May as of streaming this. So maybe someone got the date wrong and thought that it was summer starting now. So essentially, a colorless fog has enveloped the kingdom of Boletaria? The kingdom of Boletaria. And you're one of the many people who've tried to go into the fog and stop it. It was really funny because the game has rare animals and special unique traits, all of which this player took beautiful pictures of, and it was more of a jealousy thing, because people who have played the game for years still didn't have one in their trophy room, so they were mad that this guy just let them go. It's sad but funny to me. I suppose there is humor to it. It is progressive as in stuff to always do with progression in the game, which I don't have many good ones of in my collection. Stuff always do with progression. As in stuff to always do with progression. So you mean, what do you mean by progression? Do you mean like replayability, or do you mean a game where you level up and become more powerful as your character progresses, or like I have some that I've finished completely and I can't do anything meaningful in them. There are some, but some are a bit dull. Oh, so you mean more replayability. Progression as in moving the game along. Yeah. So you probably mean more in the line of replayability in that case. I think that's more the what's the word for it? The industry name for what you mean, I think, if I understand you correctly. So this all looks good. I'm happy with that. So now let's add forest. Actually, before should I? No, I think I should probably do the lock flume first. Like Pokemon, for example, I've done all of that, so I can't do any more. I want a game where I have more meaningful stuff to do, to go towards completion. Oh, right. I see. So you mean, oh, right. So you basically mean a game with more content. A game with more meaningful content is basically what I gather by that. Oh, wait. It's the 21st today. The start of summer. I'm just gonna go to the shed and get my lifetime savings of fireworks. Be right back. Wait, no, come back. Half a minute later, all the fireworks goes off. I was gonna say summer starts next month. Next month on the 21st, not today. No. And it is Demon Souls. It's kind of, yeah, that I haven't already finished. Well, I mean, there are some games that have a lot of that sort of stuff. Of course, Minecraft comes to mind. Of course, I would suggest the Java version, because with Minecraft Java version, if you run out of stuff to do in the base game, which you probably won't for a long time, because you can get into doing redstone stuff and building farms and making railways and things like that. With the Java version, you can just download mods. You can download a mod that will add magic. Like one mod that'll add magic to do with starlight and is focused all around that. Another mod which will add, like, I think the first one was ethereal craft or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. The other one is Thomcraft, which adds stuff where you can, basically a Thaumonomicon, where you can scan the world and use its elements to do magic. Then there's another magic mod where there's so many magic mods, or tech mods, immersive engineering. You can build machines with conveyor belts and with all sorts of multi-block structures, and you can, basically there's an almost endless supply of mods that add more content, more stuff to do. So if you want a game that has a lot of progression, like you say, I would suggest Minecraft. Oh, also on a game note, I finally got around to putting my games into a genre and franchise categories, both satisfying and annoying. Good. It used to take a long time to complete in terms of map discovery. I'm intrigued by RL Craft 2. RL Craft is a mod pack, at least as far as I'm aware. Also, this doesn't look very good. It's because the angle is changing. Is it? Wait a minute. Is that, or is it just broken? Ah, that's annoying. Look, the log flume asset is broken. It doesn't connect properly. I might be able to find a different log flume. Yeah, but it's a mod pack, so it's already got lots of mods that have been chosen by someone to work well together. Is that Thaumaturgy? Doubt that's how it's spelled. No, the mod is called Thomcraft. Yeah, Thaumaturgy. Thomcraft. True, but that's just tasks, no story progression or reason that you're doing it. Ugh! Ugh? Oh yeah, ugh. No, but like the study of magic, or one of them, I heard an ESP video. SCP video. Yeah, Thaumaturgy, there's a thing about that. What do I have here? Okay, tell you what, I'm just going to search for flume, see what I can find. Thaumatology. Thaumatology? Is that the word of it? Is that the word for it? I've got shake flume? No, it's... well, I suppose I'll just look through this stuff. Maybe I can find a good asset. I've never made a spline asset before, so I can't just go make one myself because, well, I don't know how to, basically. Thaumatology. Apparently. Interesting. I mean, this one looks interesting. I'm not entirely sure that it's that useful for logs, considering how narrow it is. I think something might quite easily get stuck in there, but might still work. Log flume dam, I think that might be an object. Actually, is it a track? Actually, we've got this one. We've got look, we've got a track version. We've got a connector. What is this? Oh, steam valve section. Nope. What is this? Oh, it's sawdust. No. V-flume? Water flume? This is slide control. We have a blockage in section 12. Over. Do. Yeah. But yeah, if you want a game that has a lot of progression and that is constantly being updated, I would suggest Minecraft, Java Edition, because you're going to get all the updates for free. Another good one is Terraria. If you want more of a gamey version, like with Minecraft, a lot of it is just, okay, you're in the world, now the meaning is derived from what you do, from what meaning you give it. But if you want something with more of a direct progression, like this is the next thing to go, and then you've got this piece, you can get to the next piece and the next piece and the next piece, I would suggest Terraria, which is also a great game on its own. So yes, I think this one might be the best candidate. It's got those supports on the top, but although I suppose maybe that other one does look good. I'll put it here for now. Water flume. Thank you for the suggestions. You're welcome. And in Terraria, the minecarts have actual turning wheels. Ha! Yeah. If that's a big selling point for you, then sure, why not? We've got this one, JS log flume. Let's have a look at that. Oh, that's actually, no, that's obsolete. I don't actually need that. That's, yeah, so this is all the obsolete stuff down here. Okay, so we're not going to use this one because the spline isn't made properly. Unfortunate, but can't do anything about it. And we've got these ones. This one is covered in. I don't want to use that one. Then we've got these two. Shades, how about searching for log in category splines? I can do that. Log bridge. Floating log spline. Actually, that could be useful for later on. I'll just download that. We've got log fences. Log walls. Then we've got the stuff we've already got. So, okay, so now which one of these do I prefer? So color-wise, I prefer this one. The browner, the brown tone of the wood looks, in my opinion, nicer than this, because that almost looks like concrete. Plus, it's also a track, which might not sound like it's a good boon, so to say, but it actually is, because it means that I can use the gradient tools for it, which is going to be a great advantage. So the first time I've ever heard about it. Oh yeah, me no lucky that. Oh, I want people to be happy, but with regret and sadness. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I didn't actually read the stuff up there. Oh yeah, I also tried out a story game recently, Ada Cafe. Took a long time to get to choices and was too emotionally intense for me, having even before then. So I ended up getting rid of it. First time I've ever heard of it. Yeah, right. It's gonna be a great advantage. Shadows, you missed a couple. Yeah, I did. I went back and saw them. Thank you for pointing it out. So, If I grab... Hold on, one moment. If I maybe make this grade 1%, perhaps? That is not really tall enough. But I can mess around with this later. This way I can make sure that the grade is always going up, at the very least. Or down, depending on how you look at it. Tee-hee, tee-hee, tee-hee. Yeah. Okay, and as for this just cutting straight across, that's not really going to work because the supports aren't tall enough, I don't think. Although, no, they are not. I would have to flatten this out a bit, which I don't want. I just have to make sure that the curves aren't too steep for any potential logs to fit through. Or I suppose maybe it doesn't actually have to fit around the corner. Maybe it could just go underneath the tracks somewhere here and then go up the side like this, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it should go follow the river along a bit more. Although I can't really have it go... Can't really have it go over the river, because if it goes over the river, then that's not going to work. That's going to get destroyed. Interesting. Subscribe. Oh no, it's scribble. Hello, Sweaty Gaming. If it's a track, does that mean that you can put a logboat? Logboat. Yes, I could be able to. Hello, welcome. How are you? Yes, you've been spotted. Maybe we should just follow the tracks a bit more closely. Maybe that would be better. Hello! Yes. Mr. W's in chat as well. Again, after a long time. Hi. Yeah, I need to make this be a little bit steeper if I want this log flume to actually follow along here. Then maybe switch to the underside of the other side of the tracks somewhere here, although that wouldn't. Well, maybe that could make for an interesting bridge. But in that case, I would have to have this be a little bit lower. Miss Snipes, this flume, like it's the most expensive flume in history. Were they ever that long, IRL? I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. I guess if it's the easiest way of getting the logs down to the river, then maybe. Not for people to ride, obviously. Also, how did you actually set a color for your username now? Pink? I don't know. It is logboat. I mean, if it's unrealistic like this, I don't know. I have little experience with them. One moment. Right. So how am I going to do this? Actually, let's look for reference material quickly. One moment, I'll quickly switch over to this. Hmm. I'm saying some pictures where they do seem somewhat long. I'll be back with you in a moment. I'm just looking at reference material quickly. Okay, sure. So this is what I found. If I look at the pictures here, I mean, here it looks kind of long. This does also look a little bit, if I look here, on this picture it looks really long, it's snaking its way down. Here as well. So I guess that they were actually really quite long, looking at some of these pictures. Let's have a quick look. I had the stream full screen for a few seconds and the last message didn't show up in chat for me. Right. Interesting. Could you show them? Yes. Yes, I finally figured out how, and every person in chat in the stream I was in picked pink, so all of the chat was pink to help cheer someone up. Aww. Nice. I've gladly told you how to do it. Oh wow. It was fun being a different color and I didn't really need to know. But I learned because it was for a reason. Aww. Has everyone heard of the Flip-Flop Railway? I love historical photos. Nope. Ooh, let's have a look. There's a citation needed episode about it. What is that? It's a bit hard to read for me at the moment. Interesting. Right, so I guess, yeah, this might actually be okay. What sort of grade do we have here currently? I think it's 1. Okay, so if I go up to 1.5, I don't want to go underneath the tracks. That would be too big of a an engineering. It would be too expensive. That's basically what I meant. I just need to get this just over here, and then here I can get the grade from the line like that. Actually, that'll work like this. 1.27% is what I've got here. So I can just have this be at the same grade coming up along this way. But here I think the grade gets a bit steeper, if I recall correctly. Oh yeah, 1.6. Although at some point I will have the bridge, the tracks will have to cut across this with a bridge, because there's no way that I'm fitting this track underneath here. Okay, I think that this is probably a good enough point to do this. So if I first choose how low I need to have this. So let's quickly go into this mode. I know it's bright, but just so I can see how far down it would have to be probably. Let's say around like that. And then I can switch that mode back off and set the height down to these places. Just so that it's up until the point where it actually stops going uphill. Yeah, like here. That's the point. So at this point, this is all flat, which that's good. That's okay. Just for the track to gain enough height organically. I can use a retaining wall here as well for the tracks. Okay, so something like this maybe. I know in reality you would put the log flume over the top because it's much easier to construct like that. But I don't have a piece that doesn't have the... Unless maybe it was constructed out of brick. Maybe it was just a bridge, like a brick bridge where just it's a tunnel going through a bridge essentially. Actually, that would probably look better, because it's just not feasible to have a railway bridge going over the top. That just doesn't look realistic. It doesn't look realistic at all, so let's try that. Even if it's a question of two unrealistic things, I'm going to choose the one that at least looks better. So, who here has heard of the Großglockner Hochalpenstraße? I have. Yes, I know Trainz has. So let's look. Brick bridge. Is there anything that... No, not that. Maybe if I look for, I don't know, maybe an arch? Maybe there's something in here. Actually, the conveyor, hold on. Not conveyor bridge, hold on. There we go. Those conveyor assets could work. Like one of these ones. Maybe they just built a little thing around it so that it wouldn't fall onto the tracks if anything did get stuck. And with these ones, I can have any supports that I want. That is a good solution. Have you, Mr. W? I don't know. Do I want double stacks to come through here as well? I might. Let's just give it enough clearance to be able to do that. Load bottom HC, load top HC. Just in case. And that's plenty of space up top. Do I want this to be a... I guess this could be a little bit steeper like that. And that looks okay. So now I'll need some sort of thing that it connects to, maybe an abutment. Probably an object, not a trackside object, although trackside objects could theoretically work. Something like that, only not that new looking. Although I guess maybe something like this could work. Maybe this could actually work like that. Just actually, it might be easier if I do it the other way around. Actually, no, because maybe something like that. Although I don't know how far I can move this up. The answer is pretty much not at all. So can I move this down slightly so that it actually fits inside like that? Well, do I even need that? Can't I just use a normal, like a bridge support and then just have the track thing? If this had an end bit to it, that would be great. But unfortunately it doesn't. At least it doesn't with normal facing that way with it. No, it doesn't. So I do have to have something there. Unless I just want it to point in there and you don't even see anything in there. Like I'm not, unless I don't even try to hide it. Something like this might work if I move this point out a little bit like that. But yeah, that doesn't look good. Although, I suppose it doesn't look that bad. SA Software have recently rebuilt the entirety of Austria in ETS2, and it now includes this road. We'll be driving it tomorrow in this convoy. Großblock now being the tallest mountain in Austria. Would be so good if there was a version of that log flumes plan without supports. Yes, you're right. Also, I don't think that's lined up properly. Hold on. Something like that. If like having something like that isn't really better. I think that's more obvious than just having it end in the open space like that. And then maybe I can use some stone supports for this bit. Not ones like that. Too modern. Or maybe wood supports. Maybe something like that could work. Maybe? Like, what would it look like with another one on the side? I'll look through the other supports to see if I've got anything that would fit a little better, but I'm not sure. There's that, but that's just too low. No, that's not what I want. Not what I want at all. I suppose maybe something like this could work a bit better. Yeah, that does look a bit better, I think. If it's tall enough to actually reach, because I don't know if I can actually increase the height of this without it floating. The answer is no. So unless I put this onto something like a concrete block, it won't reach. Although maybe I can find a way of using it, so I'm going to leave it there for now. But maybe that could work. Can I increase the height of this without it? Yes, I can. Ah, ha, 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 ha. This one might work out much, much better. Are you sure the flume needs to cross here? Well, where should it cross if not here? Because, I mean, where else? I mean, what do you mean? I guess the only other way of doing it is if I had a tributary coming down, so that there's already a bridge here that the tracks go over, and then the log flume goes underneath it and then follows the river up. But I don't want that. And if I'm not doing that, if the flume's going to cross over the top anyway, then I might as well make it cross here, because then I've got plenty of space to bring it up the side of the slope before reaching the town. And that's the same one as that one, so that's also probably not got the height. Yeah, it doesn't. And that's already the stuff that I looked through. Okay, so it looks like we're using that one. How many segments is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 and a bit. Okay. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the one in the middle. Okay. So having one there, then 1, 2, 3 and a half. Actually, that's not right. Is that right? Would have to be a little closer, but that can't be that close. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3. What about here? 1, 2, 3. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that placed correctly? Did I place that correctly? I don't think I did. One moment. Let me just replace these. So 1, 2, 3. So it would be like down there. 1, 2, 3. So it would be like there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it would be right there, but that's already intersecting the tracks. So actually, yeah, I do kind of need one. Maybe we can have one that's rotated so that it's in line with the tracks more, so that we can have a support in the middle. Yeah, something like that. Something like that is what I'm thinking. And then of course I'm going to have to rotate these correctly. Is that good? Maybe move it down slightly here, just so it's not intersecting. Although I suppose, yeah, no, just so it's not intersecting like that. How's this one? That one doesn't matter because it's inside the thing already. This one needs to be centered a little bit more, sort of like that. Okay, bye-bye, Mr. W. Thank you for coming. I don't know if I like that with all these turned this way. Maybe if I just, maybe they don't have to be of equal distance. Maybe if I just turn this one to face this way as well, and then just move it back enough so that it's not intersecting with the tracks. Maybe like there. Okay, if I delete the train like that, so it's easier to see. Hello, sweetheart. Or turn the other one to follow the track. So you have two. What do you mean? Oh, you mean the other one, like this one following the track. So you mean that this one would be turned this way as well. Maybe that could work. Interesting. I do feel that this needs to be moved slightly like that. So you mean something like this. Although I might just move this one a bit because it does feel a little close to the other supports already. So maybe if I move that here. Maybe I can center the tracks a little bit better. Hold on, that's not easy to do with this view because otherwise it'll mess up the heights. So something like that, probably like this. Ha 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 ha. Yes. Or rather, And then 2 eyes. Yes, there we go. 2 lines. Okay, so this goes through here. Good, good. So now, what sort of grade? Oh, it's not a spline. Haha. It's a track. Not 2 eyes, 2 pipes. I wanted to keep a slope. Ooh, 2.17, is that going to be good? Well, I suppose it does have a while to go up. So it's HH pipe pipe H. Yes. That's a bit too steep of a curve, I think. Maybe something like this would fit better. Is that going up steep enough? Maybe it should go a little bit steeper. Maybe 2.25. It's going to be interesting hearing the story of why they need this kind of a flume. Actually, that's still too tame of a grade. Because I want to get this out of the way a bit quicker. Probably a log industry up top. Yep. Yes. And I've already... So when I made the lake with the dam, I already put the log loading industry down there because I knew that I wanted logs to be floated down into the lake and then loaded onto trains. And there are 2 rivers that flow into that lake. One we've already built over on this side, which is where the one of the log industries is up here, but that gets loaded directly onto the trains at that point. So it wouldn't really make much sense to have the logs float down on the water to then be loaded onto trains in the lake. So the other option was to then say, okay, we'll have the logs flow down this river. But I don't really want this river to be that flat or tame, I suppose, good word for it. So if they can't be floated down the river, then I decided, okay, well, let's add a flume. Although this does seem like it's taking a while to get up top. It's because the tracks are climbing as well. That's why it is such a long thing. It is taking too long, too big of a distance. I'm gonna need a bigger slope. Well, our team always thought that this area needed a little more action. The area was fairly unaffected by earthquakes, tremors, twisters, and the like, and we had the funds to do it. We went the funds for it, so we built it. That sounds like you have Johnson quote. It does. Take the lemons back. Yes. How about a 5%? I'll read that in a bit. I don't think that I've ever tried to do a Cave Johnson voice. Maybe the issue is that the grade is too samey, that it's all the same grade going up. Maybe if I made some bit steeper than others, maybe that would look a bit better. This is just feeling too long now. Okay, something going up like that. Like, this is going for a really long time. I was hoping to have it up on top like that. Maybe I can... hold on. I've got an idea. Maybe I could make a little dip in the side, that like a little valley that kind of goes down into. Like if I lower this down, like, hold on. Oh, no, that's using the wrong tool. That is not the right tool. One moment. Like maybe having this go down like that instead. So then it doesn't need to carry on for that long. And then it just kind of vanishes down that way. I think that might be a bit of a better solution. One moment. So just having this kind of vanish up this way, and I will have to bring the slope up a little bit more to fit this. Something like that, and then maybe bringing it up a little bit closer up there so that it's not as tall, so that it feels a little bit more realistic, because I would assume the taller this thing is, the more expensive it would be to build. So if it's actually quite shallow, then most of it then might be a little bit more realistic. But I don't want to get rid of these parts completely, so maybe having it a little bit more like this. How does that look? So let's just follow it along, because this is already a long way for it to go. So it'll just empty out down here somewhere into the river, well, into the lake. It comes along here. I will probably have to put this a little bit closer. Not happy with this bit. This bit over here where it comes up and goes over, I think that works. And then where it kind of snakes its way up the side there, I think that kind of works as well. It does go on for a lot. It does go on for a while. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad. I didn't want your damn lemons. What the hell am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know what? Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down. There you go. Oh, I like this guy. Yep. I will read chat a bit. Yes, already read that. If you posted that in my stream tomorrow on Monday, I'll do my best to read it in an appropriate voice for it. XCT. Well, try this voice, but Cave Johnson exclusion? Original. Nah, definitely read it with Cave Johnson voice, definitely. I don't know that enough to properly do an impression. Portal is an amazing game. Have you ever played Paradise? I've played bits. There are parts, most of it I really like, but there are parts of it that I don't quite like that much. But overall, yeah, I agree. More world building and such like in Portal, I find. Or you can go. I played through multiple times. Even made some of my own chambers in the workshop. Most of them are co-op. Oh, smells like Portal 2 stream. Chat is backed up on chat. Not really anymore. With whom, though, I'd already know the solutions. Unless I forgot in all the years. Would be interesting. Yeah, this doesn't really look that good, going all the way around the crest. It would look so much better if it just cut straight across. Maybe I can do something to make it go straight across. Maybe if it does follow the river down, and then it just goes along the side of the river. That way, we wouldn't really have the height issue, and I think that could work a bit better. So let's try that. Portal here, portal there, throw a turret in there. Ha! Ha, I say. And actually, I'm going to put another supply point in there. Just decrease the height of this a little bit. Move it over here. Actually, no, let's do it from scratch. Also put a minus in front. Is that a bit too... Yeah, it'd have to be a bit steeper, wouldn't it? Maybe 6, negative 6. I know. Is that floating? Yes, that is floating. Okay, maybe I'll just manually change the height down a little bit more. Thing is, I don't want the logs to gain too much velocity going down here. What logs? Yeah, those fictional ones. He makes a lot of pop songs. Yes, I know. Maybe this is a good place to to decrease the grade slightly. It's a little bit of a hill in the way. Kind of have it snake its way down, because it still does need to lose a lot of that height. Maybe negative 0.1. That's a bit too low, because it does have to, well, it really does have to actually get across this bit. For it to get across this bit, it needs to have at least that height. And let's just connect it like this. Then let's set the height up to, actually no, up to this. Yeah, which means that that actually already went down too far. So having it kind of be like that, then a gradual decrease. Maybe not too gradual though. Something like that probably would work, I would think. Although I don't like that little kink in there. That looks like it could cause issues. And of course I've got to readjust the height again, because moving the spline points moves how much space I have for the grade to fit in. Yeah, this bit just seems a little too steep of a corner. Something like that probably looks a bit better. So then this bit just continues along. And that's actually a little too low, so I'm going to have to well, probably just keep the height from over here. If that's even enough. It might not be. No, it actually isn't quite enough. I suppose I could have this a little bit more over on the edge like this. That way I think it is just about enough. Okay, and here I'd have to go down quite a bit steeper. I think I'm going to get rid of the grade as well, like the gradient that I typed in, because I think I'm going to do that manually. Maybe have it then go down into it like that. Okay, well, I'll read chat. And actually, how does this look? It looks a lot better than it did previously. Maybe I could even go a bit steeper down if I didn't take that... one moment. If it didn't go that way, if it just went straight down like that, yes, it would go quite steep, but maybe that could actually look better. Although then it would still have to... I don't know. Maybe I guess I could have it go steeper down here and then curve like that to make it be the shortest possible route instead of having this little slink in here. Also, did you know I don't think you can get it anymore, but there was a game which featured GLaDOS from Portal 2. It was 2 as well, as Sam and Max from Sam Max. Pokemon 2 by Telltale Games. Oh, I think I've heard of that. Along other characters. Not sure. It looks like it might get stuck in the curves. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Might look better without it. It's just, without it, it's going to be much steeper. It's going to have to be much steeper. Although, yeah, see, this is floating. So for this to not be floating, it would have to be down as far as this. And probably some more over here as well. Actually, I'm going to increase this height a little, at least. Well, first, I mean, not at least, first. So this has to be this height. I kind of have to move this one back a bit, maybe increase the height slightly. Maybe something like that. Yes, now there's this dip in it. Although I suppose I could just add another spline point in there and then lower this down a bit. Yeah, that does look better, I think. What about this curve? This curve feels a little too sharp. Let's add a spline point in there and maybe make the curve like that. Maybe that's a bit better. Think about how long a log would have to be in order to get stuck in here. Although this is now much too sharp. This kind of has to... Maybe I can just even delete one of these points like that. Then I'd have to, of course, readjust this one to fit maybe like that. That's also a little steep, a little sharp. Maybe like this. Okay, now let's quickly go up this way. Okay, is there anything very steep up here? Very sharp corner. And this one's a little bit. Maybe move this one over a bit like that. Then I can even decrease the height of this a little bit, which will add a little bit more variety in the actual grade of this as well. Which would be nice. Oh, we've gone past 11 o'clock. I've just seen. Imagine if the water and the texture of log flume was animated. Oh yeah, that would be nice. Maybe it is in Driver, who knows? Okay, so is any of this too sharp? This looks really quite sharp, but the player's really only going to see it from down here. And from down here, that I'd say that looks okay. Because the perspective is another thing that is important. Yeah, maybe some of this as well. Oh yeah, this one definitely looks a bit too sharp. Maybe something more like that. Logboat, logboat, logboat. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I know what asset you mean. Okay, and I'm going to move this support a little bit back so that, well, I'm going to center the other one as well, so that it isn't right on top of the other one. I still don't like how open this looks here. There's really nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. Maybe I can put a tree in front of it or something. Also, this is slightly floating. I have to fix this. Actually, that might be a good idea, having a little bit of ballast over the top of the track in some places. Anyway, I don't want to get too carried away with this. Yeah, we've already gone 10 minutes past. So I'll save, get a thumbnail, and then that'll be that. And lower the support. I mean, yeah, I can. It doesn't really matter that much if it intersects or not. Lower it down to there, so that it matches with the others. And it's okay over here, yes? Is that not floating? Okay, that is not floating, good. Giant can of Chef Boyardee? Trackside would surely draw the player eye away from noticing that. Yes, logboat, I know. Oh, this. Let's have a look. Is it beans or something, maybe? I don't know. No, it's... Is that the cereal? Hold on. Oh, pasta. There you go. It's human dog food, essentially. Human dog? Wait, human dog food or human dog food? Yeah, gross food. Yeah. So, let's see. Let's see about this. Not sure if I want to feature that on it. Probably do. Maybe something like that could look good. Maybe if I angle it up slightly like that. How does that look when it's small? It looks okay. Maybe try one like this. Yeah, it doesn't capture enough of the waviness of this, I feel. Maybe something like this. Lower down the drone! Maybe. But I wanted you to be able to see the river on it as well in the background. So maybe like that. So you can see the mountain through it. Okay. So, did I already save? I'm not sure. I don't quite remember. Let's place a few trees of safety, just to be sure. And that empty space as well. Yeah. From the bridge. True. True. Did you see mine? And if you edit the screenshot to have that bridge include an interior. Oh right, no I didn't. Anyway, so that's that. This stream will be archived on YouTube, of course. So I guess all that's left to say is thank you all for watching, of course, and for typing in chat. Just moving the screenshots in the correct folder. There we go. And that is that. Bye-bye. Good night. Many snacks for stream, yeah.